Marsha P Johnson and
the fight for queer rights.
Marsha P Johnson was a Black LGBTQ+ activist who believed that everybody deserves equal rights, and it was everybody's responsibility to help each other get them. She fought for these rights at the Stonewall riots in 1969 and Founding Star the following year, helping everybody around. She was and is one of the most influential people in the fight for queer rights.
Marsha P Johnson was born in 1945 in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Growing up, she often felt out of place and struggled to find where she belonged. Seeking freedom and acceptance, she made the bold move to New York City, where she discovered the amazing world of drag culture. She fell in love with the colorful performances, dazzling outfits, and the joyous celebration of individuality. When Marsha performed, the stage transformed into a magical space filled with music, laughter, and self-expression. Her shows were always a celebration of life and love.
For breaking out. And Marsha was one of many kids that was fighting back at Stonewall, for example. That it was really just because there was like a tipping point in our anger and our need to like have determination over our own bodies and what we wear and who we love and how we exist in the world and what our families look like. Marsha just sticks out because she did it with such character and flair, and like she had that persona and she wore the costumes and she was a constant in the village, so people saw her all the time. So she's
In the 1900s in the United States, people who were queer were treated really horribly. They could get hurt or even arrested just for expressing their identity. It was a horrible time when someone could lose their job just because someone thought they might be queer. It wasn't safe for them to be themselves, and many people lived in fear of what others might say or do. This made life really tough and unfair for a lot of queer people. In 1924, the Society for Human Rights, the first gay rights group in the U.S., was founded but quickly disbanded only a few months later because of police raids. In 1952, the American Psychiatric Association said that homosexuality is a mental disorder. In 1953, President Eisenhower banned homosexuals from getting jobs in the government.
On June 28, 1969, something momentous happened at the Stonewall Inn, a popular gay bar in Greenwich Village, New York City. At around midnight, the police barged into the bar, telling everyone to leave and provoking panic throughout the bar. All of a sudden, Marsha P. Johnson shouted, "I got my civil rights." Her words inspired everyone. The mood quickly changed from fear to determination. People began to stand up against the police, throwing things and forming barricades. Over the next few nights, more and more people from the LGBTQ+ community joined the protest. Marsha's courage encouraged everyone to fight for their rights.
What happened at Stonewall sparked a national conversation about LGBTQ+ rights, changing the way society viewed people who identified as queer. Marsha became one of the leaders in this movement, constantly advocating for those who are often overlooked or ignored. Her spirit was contagious and empowering the community to stand up and fight for fairness and justice. In 1970, during their quest for change, Marsha teamed up with her close friend, Sylvia Rivera, and together they created a group known as STAR, which stands for Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. It was a huge responsibility, but it was worth it to Johnson. They focused on helping homeless and LGBTQ+ youth by providing them with shelter, food, and resources. Marsha and Sylvia worked tirelessly to make sure those who needed help the most were not forgotten. They opened their hearts and homes to aim to create a community where everyone could feel safe, cared for, and supported.
In the 1980s, people had a lot of opinions about gay people because of the AIDS crisis, and many thought that AIDS only affected gay men, which formed fear and hateful stereotypes. This made life very difficult for the LGBTQ+ community, and it was evident that something needed to change. Marsha P Johnson, who was living with HIV and AIDS, saw how important it was to stand up for people affected by the disease. She became a founding member of ACT UP, a group that fought for better treatment and health care access. Marsha wanted to show everyone that being gay didn't make someone responsible for the AIDS crisis, and that everyone deserved respect and help. Through her activism, Marsha helped change the conversation about AIDS and spoke out for people who were suffering, pushing for better understanding.
Yeah, her activism was a very important part of especially gay and trans activism. She really represented joy. She brought a lot of activists bring a lot of anger and militancy, which is very important, and they stir up trouble. Marsha comes to a demonstration like with flowers in her hair, and
Unfortunately, when Johnson was only 46, her body was found floating on the Hudson River on July 6, 1992. Police initially ruled the death as suicide, but many of Marsha's friends weren't satisfied with how fast the cops closed the case and demanded further investigation. It made more people fight even more aggressively when she died, not only fighting for their rights, but also for them to look into Marsha's death. The cops did not listen to the protests to reopen the case when people were fighting for it, though the case was eventually reopened in 2012 and remains unsolved to this day.
Marsha's advocacy was not restricted to LGBTQ+ rights. She fought against racism and sexism. As a Black transgender woman, she lived at the intersection of multiple forms of prejudice, making her activism particularly significant and addressing the demands of those most oppressed within the queer community.
In modern times, Pride celebrations around the globe serve as reminders of how far the LGBTQ+ community has come since Johnson's time. Thanks to the bravery of activists like Marsha P Johnson, these events fill the streets with color, music, and joy as millions of people gather together in celebration of love and solidarity. They're not just parties. They're powerful reminders of the struggles faced in the past and the victories achieved through determination and heart. People have even made a petition trying to replace a statue of Christopher Columbus with one of Johnson. It ended up getting more than 40,000 signatures. The statue never ended up getting replaced.
One monumental achievement was the historic ruling that legalized same-sex marriage, a true victory that meant couples could finally have their love recognized and celebrated publicly. Marsha's dream for equality came true for many, showing that people could love freely without fear. But even with this progress, there's still a long way to go. Despite the progress made, many challenges still remain. Countless LGBTQIA+ individuals face discrimination and hate every single day. Advocacy groups continue to work tirelessly to fight against these issues, keeping Marsha's spirit of activism and love alive. Her fight for justice inspires new generations to continue working for a world where everyone can live freely, openly, and without fear of prejudice. Thanks to brave souls like Marsha, there's hope for a future where everyone can be accepted for who they are, enjoying love and being treated equally no matter what.